Hey guys, welcome back to Harrison Hustle. Today we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw. Um, just a little bit. I want to talk about past Raws, but I'm going to talk about present on this video because it's just a debacle. It's horrible. So basically, what I've been seeing and what I've been watching and just the product that they're putting out. I mean, this is your life with the whole Alexa Bliss. It was horrible. When you look at that segment, and I'm gonna get into more into it, but it's just it's something that they're trying to now hide as if like it never happened. It was so bad. Um, and the thing is Alexa Bliss is a credible champion. She's a great character, great heel, great in the ring. I don't understand why they're doing this. I mean, Bailey was huge in NXT, and I feel like they've been booking her. Um, I mean, she's in contention for the belt, but they're booking her like a jobber, like a mid carder. She's not getting uh, the support, the creative support that she deserves. Bailey's another one. She's very talented. Fans love her. I think it's time for a heel change. I would turn her heel. Alexa Bliss is a heel. Bailey's a heel. I know. So let them have their feud. But then let's let Bailey turn heel after this feud's over. You don't have to turn Alexa Bliss face. But just to get Bailey maybe reinvigorated. I mean, turn the hugs into slaps. Remember when the Stephanie McMahon slaps? They were huge. If you turn the hugs into slaps, I think that would really, you're gonna lose. The kids are gonna boo her and stuff because they love her so much. But that's something you got to do. Bailey's not John Cena. I understand why they never turned Cena, um, just because of merchandise sales. But again, when I'm gonna get into a Cena video in a different time, so I don't want to touch on that too much. Let's stick to Raw right now. So again, that was a horrible segment. This is your life. No, it only worked with Rock because The Rock is just The Rock. I mean, he's charismatic and he can pretty much do whatever he wants. You can give him a pile of crap and he'll turn it into a piece of gold. That's just how talented he is. Now, Bailey and Alexa Bliss are talented, but again, the WWE these days is so structured that they don't get a chance to be themselves, and that really frustrates me. Um, I think that the two best heels, number one, AJ Styles when he was a heel, that was great. That worked really, really well. I liked him as a heel. The other big heels, I like Samoa Joe, um, and let's see, I'm gonna go with the Miz. Obviously, I like Dean Ambrose, but I like Miz as Intercontinental Champion. He really brought prestige back to that belt. He made it something. The belt didn't make the man made that belt. He brought it back into the limelight and did an excellent job. Um, now that he's on Raw and they brought Ambrose over and you're just seeing the same feud that you saw on SmackDown. I mean that's just a little too much. You see the same stuff over and over. It's a lazy creative team. That's what I get from it. They're just lazy. They don't want to push it. They're just kind of everything feels like filler up until now. We're gonna get into SummerSlam, and then you'll get some filler, and you'll get into Survivor Series, and then again filler until you get to Royal Rumble, and then usually you get some decent stuff on the way to WrestleMania. But usually after WrestleMania, I mean, it is what it is now. It's absolutely ridiculous. Um, I like the way they're booking Samoa Joe. I want them to book him a little bit more raw, like animal raw, because I feel like Samoa Joe should be the guy to take down Brock Lesnar. If anyone's going to take down Lesnar, it should be Samoa Joe. I don't care about Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. I don't hate Reigns, but I mean, he's okay. But I'd like to see like a Reigns Rollins feud. And at WrestleMania, if next year, I hope it's Reigns and Cena. That is a match that I'd be interested to see both of those guys in. Um, and the other match I want to see, and I've seen it in TNA, and they'd have to do cross promotion between Raw and SmackDown, would definitely be AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. And if Samoa Joe took down Brock, then Samoa Joe would have the belt. And AJ and Samoa Joe, they've got great chemistry. Their history in TNA is phenomenal, so they can bring that to the WrestleMania stage, and you're laughing. I mean, you've got some really good potential. But with Raw the way it is right now, oh, it's like watching, the year 2000 Nitro. I mean, it's just really, really bad. They don't know what they're doing as far as I'm concerned. I watch, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fanboy. I don't watch it as a fan and go like, oh, they didn't do, I watch it as, am I entertained? And the answer is no. Am I entertained by The Miz on Raw? Absolutely. Uh, Dean Ambrose and the Hardys, that was cool. I think the Hardys um, were booked solid when they got back. They got the belts, and then I just don't, I don't feel like they're being booked properly. Cesaro against the Hardys. The problem with the Hardys is I don't see Cesaro being on their level. I mean, I want to see the Hardys take on a top tag team. And Cesaro, they're pushing them, but I'm not a big fan of that tag team. That's my personal opinion. I like some of the stuff they do, but again, I don't think that they're on the Hardys level as far as doing extreme matches. But again, you're in PG era WWE, so the extreme matches aren't as extreme as they could be. Um, Next thing I want to touch on is, who attacked Enzo. Was a big Cass or blah 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 blah. To be honest, it I see them pushing Big Cass because of his size and stuff like that, and Enzo's gonna end up being a lower end mid carder at best, and that sucks because Enzo's so great on the mic, and I know that if he were in the Attitude Era, he would be a top guy. Enzo has those mic skills, and if he was allowed to go out there and actually just tear people apart on the mic, he would. I mean, he still does in this PG era, but as far as if they give him a little bit more leeway on what he can do and what he can say, it would be great. My issue is the 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 WWE PG era. It's got to come to an end. No, I'm not saying go back and do chair shots to the head, and all the half naked women all the time and stuff like that. That's not what I want to see. What was nice, when back in the day, you had like Trish Stratus and Lita, and they kind of. Trish Stratus started out as eye candy. Lita started out as a hardcore. She was a wrestler. I mean, she could do things that you never saw the women wrestlers do. And then Trish Stratus just kind of like just honed her craft and got better and better and better. And yeah, she was still a sex symbol, but that wasn't her gimmick. Her gimmick was like she's the best in the ring, and Lita's the best in the ring, and they're gonna clash, and they had great matches. I mean, they got to headline Raw back in the day, which was a phenomenal feat. And you're seeing that now with Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks and all these girls that get the headline shows and stuff like that. The other thing with the women's division, moving Charlotte over to SmackDown and now she's a face. I'm not a big fan of that. Had I moved her to SmackDown, I definitely would have had her and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has kind of been tossed to the side and just lost in the shuffle, and that sucks because she's really really talented. One person I would have moved to Raw and give her a really, really big push is Natalya. Natalya is an incredible wrestler. I mean, she comes from the dungeon. She's part of the Hart family. Natalya should have went to Raw, and they should have just pushed her to, sky's the limit. Her and Alexa Bliss could have had amazing matches on Raw, and she could have feuded with Bayley. She could have feuded. I mean, look at Sasha Banks right now. Where's she? She's just kind of lost in the shuffle too. I feel like they dropped the ball with her. The women's division was so strong, and then all of a sudden, it's just starting to fall apart. If I had to just to choose between the women's division on Raw or the women's division on SmackDown, it's definitely SmackDown, because you have Charlotte Flair, and you have Natalya, and you have Becky Lynch. Um, so many. Now they're getting Carmella in there. Carmella could be definitely a big part of the women's division, but what they need to do is lose, what the heck's his name? James, whatever the hell his name is. Don't even care about that guy. They gotta lose. She's got to lose him. He's got to go because it's just a pathetic attempt. I mean, he was funny when they were doing the whole Dean Ambrose thing, you know, and then the AJ Styles stuff, you know, that was cool. But that was mostly because you're with AJ and Ambrose and stuff like that. Now he's just annoying. James Ellsworth, that's who it is. Get rid of him. He's gone. I mean, he's just, you know, and not to knock the guy, it's the character. The character is stale. It's time to move on. Let's get him out of there. Make Carmella a credible superstar, and as opposed to having him, and nobody wants to see him with Carmella. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see her character grow. Naomi is another one. She's very, very talented. You got Tamina, who is there, and then on Raw you've got Nia Jax, which we've seen Nia Jax and Sasha Banks I don't know how many times. So with the women's division, I mean, you basically took your Charlotte Flair and your Alexa Bliss, which is your two tops, but you know you can't forget about the Natalyas and the Becky Lynches and stuff like that. And there's more, like I just mentioned. But the women's division needs to be fixed, especially on Raw. When I look at Raw, all I see is, you know, a whole bunch of filler, and then we lead into like Roman Reigns, and you know, I'm tired of him being pushed as the top guy. There's a lot of other people that should be up there that aren't. I feel like I said earlier, Samoa Joe is one guy that could be a dominant heel, Brock Lesnar-esque kind of heel, because he can dominate people in the ring. And then you have, you know, Brock Lesnar as your champion who's not around. Dean Ambrose is, I guess, the top champ on television because he's the Intercontinental Champion. But I feel like The Miz should be doing that. He would carry it better. Ambrose is a phenomenal wrestler, but I see that I just see The Miz carrying the show more than Ambrose and more than anyone else with that Intercontinental title. I don't want to see it on Seth Rollins. I got a thing against Seth Rollins just because he injured Sting. You know, who else did he injure? Cena, I think his nose or whatever. But he injured Sting, and that's another topic I'm going to get into, is Sting's WWE run. But I'll get into that in a different video. So basically, I just want to tell you guys, you know, there's so much work that needs to be done for Raw. I feel like they need to, I don't even know. I mean, they need to get a new creative team, and maybe, and this may sound crazy, if you're going to get out of the PG era and go back to the 14 or whatever it was, maybe bring back Vince Russo. Because, and a lot of people hate on Vince Russo, and I'm not a big fan of Vince Russo, but when he was filtered by Vince McMahon, they had some really classic stuff going on TV. I mean, it was must-see TV. And now you have, everyone is so, I don't know, like confined. Like they can't be themselves. So everything feels watered down. Everything feels forced. Everything is scripted. This is not what I want to see. I want to see them go out there. I want to see guys act like Austin did and The Rock did, and just do whatever they feel like doing. You know, within the confines, you know, without, you know, dropping F-bombs and stuff on the show. But next, and the other thing about Raw is eventually Triple H is going to come back, and Stephanie McMahon's going to come back, and so on and so forth, and the Authority, and you know, sick of seeing that. I've been sick of that for I don't know how long, and I know a lot of people are too. Triple H, you were a B+ player, as far as I'm concerned. You did some cool stuff in your career, but I mean, people say, oh, Triple H comes back for WrestleMania to, to be a big name. I don't want to see him as a big name. How about we keep him behind the scenes doing what he does best, and then we get some bigger names in there. I mean, let's talk about Goldberg. Goldberg came in, his run was incredible. The way that they booked him for Survivor Series and all that good stuff against Brock, everything just went really, really smoothly, really well. Um, what they did wrong was put the belt on him. They took the belt away from Kevin Owens, which Kevin Owens was doing a phenomenal job as the Universal Champion. And it's not Goldberg's fault, it's the booking. I don't think Brock versus Goldberg at WrestleMania needed to have the title. That hurt that. It hurt them. It hurt their storyline. It hurt everything because people got frustrated. Because you knew Goldberg was going to come in and he was going to beat the champion, Kevin Owens, a very credible champion. And he just got tossed aside. Because for whatever reason, whoever made that decision that the belt had to be on the line in the Goldberg-Lesnar feud was it's just a stupid idea. What I would have done is have those guys go at it, career versus career, if you want to put like a stipulation with it. Go career versus career and do it that way. Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, that feud was amazing. We all knew Jericho had to go because, he's going on tour with Fozzy and whatnot. The other thing that really, with the Owens and Jericho feud, I mean, let's move into this. Jericho won the match as a swerve and then lost it the next night on Raw. Or was it SmackDown? Maybe it was SmackDown. I don't know what the hell they were doing. This whole Superstar Shakeup to me, was just a superstar fuck up because you got all these people switched around, and I think it was because SmackDown was a fucking way better show than Raw. And Raw is Vince's baby, and that's where Triple H is running the show, Stephanie, and then you got Shane McMahon on the other side with SmackDown. It shouldn't, the shakeup shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have. I mean, maybe do a couple of trades, but the shakeup shouldn't have happened. I think it fucked up WWE programming since then. SmackDown has taken a step down. Raw has just fallen off the fucking map. I'm swearing a lot here, but I'm getting frustrated with what WWE's producing. Now is the time where another company needs to step in. Like, I wish TNA could do a better job and really step in and get some bigger names. If you had the money, which TNA doesn't, unfortunately, but if they had the money, you get your ass out there and you pay CM Punk whatever he's asking. And you bring in, Jay Lethal is available. Go get him. He's a really talented guy. You've got Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis. I know TNA had them. The money's just not there, and that's the issue. And no one is battling WWE, so they can just kick back, right? Because there's no real competition. I mean, this has been said and gone over a million times, how WCW and WWF, that was the best time in wrestling, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because they had to bring out the best. They had to, because otherwise the competition was just going to eat them up. And eventually WWE did. They did. Which they produced a better product in the long run. At the beginning of the Monday Night Wars, WCW, when they were winning, they were deserving of winning at first. And then you saw that change, and that's because Raw was a way, way better show than Nitro. Nitro just went down the tubes. I don't know if they ran out of ideas. Creative just went nuts with the NWO being like 800 people, and then they had the red and black and all that stuff. And, you could have done it in a much better way. But, I'm not a booker. I don't work in the business, so who am I, right? But now you have the Raw of today, and number one, you're PG, so you're very limited. Everything's scripted. You can't do much. For whatever reason, Raw has to be better than SmackDown. And they're not. SmackDown's not as good as it was a couple months ago, but Raw's even worse. So this is just my rant for Raw. I like I said, guys, I think they need to really change up the creative team and put out the best product possible. That's not what they're doing. I don't foresee them doing it. Having Brock as champion, I think with Goldberg becoming champion was a bad idea. That killed some momentum for the Brock and Goldberg feud, and now Brock's the champ. He's not even on TV. That's a bad idea when you could have had Kevin Owens running the show, never sent him to SmackDown, and he would have continued on. I mean, Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe could have had some amazing battles in the ring. That's just my opinion. They're both really, really talented guys. I don't understand what the hell is going on with creative, but it's an absolute joke. So that's my Raw rant for today. Have a good day, guys.